Good evening, everyone. Ryan Gray here with RevMax.com and my buddy Brent Dunn from Pay-Per-Click Mode. Tonight we're going to be presenting a webinar, and we're going to talk a lot about what's holding you back with your affiliate marketing campaigns. So tonight we're going to gear this towards both beginners and veterans, because we're going to talk about some things that some of the veterans what they should be doing, especially heading into 2017. And then we're also going to talk and help those that are just getting started, and kind of let them know how the games ran, and how you can break into it. So it's going to be a diverse conversation that we're going to have tonight. But I want to thank you all for joining us. I had the 100 attendee limit to go to webinar, and so I went ahead and upgraded tonight to have the 500. So glad to see that we were able to accommodate those. I got a lot of emails about it. But yeah, so next one, I don't know. We're just going to test this out and see how it works. Kind of see how everything collaborates together. But next week, I don't know. We might just do 100. So let's jump in and go right into it. Brent, you there?
Yeah, you able to hear me?
Yeah, I gotcha.
Yeah. All right, cool. Yeah, so I'm Brent Dunn from PPC Mode.
All right, sweet. Go ahead.
That's it. I was just making sure you can hear me.
Yep, we're good. All right, so yeah, I'm the current CEO and founder of RevMax, and Brent and I have we've run campaigns together for quite some time, and over the last year, a lot of things has changed in the industry, and so that's why we do our trainings like this. We're glad to get together and kind of share of what's working in my campaigns. Brent shares what's working in his campaigns, and we kind of just have this great conversation. So let's go ahead and jump right into it. And let's talk a little bit about why people fail. Brent, what do you think is the biggest reason why those that just get started, or maybe even are in the industry, eventually fail?
Well, the main one is usually a lack of funds, and I think that is due to so many people seeing a lot of super hyped up internet marketing stuff that promises them huge profits and everything, and they expect that they're able to accomplish that with not very much investment. And because of the lack of funds, you're not going to be able to have success. You're not going to give yourself enough time to actually learn and perfect your craft to actually find that success and actually make a profit.
Yeah, it's I think a lot of people expect the magic bullet, and they always have, and ever since the days of starting to train publishers and affiliates, that's something that we always talk about. I've seen many media buyers come about and with very little budget, but they found another way to get traffic. I feel like that people substitute paid traffic for instant success. They think, well, maybe if I can just go buy paid traffic, it's instant success, where that's not the case. Those that don't have the funds, you don't need to be buying paid traffic, and you have to figure out other ways to get their traffic. So yeah, I agree. Go ahead.
I was going to say, and then there's the opposite side, where there's the people that do have the cash, but then they lack the confidence. So even say that they got 10 grand to actually put into this, they got that 10 grand and then they're testing $1 a day. So, not using that to your not using that cash flow to your advantage is not a good thing.
Yeah, that kind of reminds me of the days of Google AdWords, when you could run ringtones was a popular offer that everyone ran in the United States. There's a popular keywords, popular stuff to bid on, and I would be scared when I was testing my campaigns to just really exhaust my entire budget. So that was even myself, and until I kind of got over that threshold, I found myself kind of stuck at this, making okay money, but I really couldn't go to the next level until I really opened my budgets and let stuff test, because they say the money's in the data, and I think that's definitely true in affiliate marketing for sure.
Yeah, absolutely. And I think that ties in really well to, having high expectations, and these kind of go together, wanting the success instantly. And I know I kind of already mentioned that with funds, but really having your expectations in line where you're actually able to learn this and giving yourself enough time to perfect and succeed at it. I've seen way too many people that only are giving themselves a deadline, like a few weeks to make $1,000 a day or something like that. That's not realistic. And they end up hitting, that 2 weeks or 1 month, whatever they gave themselves as far as time frame to succeed. They haven't seen any success yet because it was way too short of a time frame, and then they ultimately give up.
Right, right. Yeah, I think that's in a lot of businesses and starting, websites back in the late 90s, one of my biggest things was, seeing it through. I see a lot of affiliates especially that will get it started and they'll get to the point where they're really starting to learn, but then they get discouraged and then they stop and then they give it a week and then they get into this pattern to where they never really move forward because they're kind of stuck in something that wasn't working. So kind of looking back at my own story, it's one of those things you just kind of have to, it's growing pains. You have to have patience with it and really kind of see it through because it does. It's like any business. It takes time to learn and then it takes time to execute. And then of
Yeah.
course we have the lazy excuse. Some days I'm lazy. I mean, I'll admit, some days it's tough to, you know, spend the time that I need to.
Yeah, I think everyone's like that. Like, I've had a checklist of stuff to do for a while, and it wasn't until I absolutely had to finish it that I finally did it. And I even kept making excuses as well. And, oh, I got to do this instead. Oh, I need to. Oh, this new TV show's on. Oh, it's a holiday. It's just endless amounts of excuses. But you got to really focus in and kind of blast through those excuses because if we allow ourselves to have excuses too frequently, then we always have our own cop out. So if we fail, it's because of this. I didn't have this information. I didn't have this tool. It it becomes part of you if you continuously make excuses and you don't actually just push through them.
Yeah, I think a big thing that I use is routine. I try to have I have a routine where, I'm up kind of at the same time every morning. I'm, working out almost the same time every morning, and then I'm getting started on certain tasks. I spend my mornings on expanding business, and I spend my afternoons on sustaining business. I think that's a big thing too. Is some people don't know, where should I just spend how much time on what campaign before going to the next campaign or going to the next idea. Maybe it's not just quite a campaign. Maybe it's an actual business idea too. And so, it's like when can I diversify that out? So I do it by just forcing myself. Morning is new business, bringing on new business, whatever that may be, launching campaigns, bringing on more people into my companies, or it may be to where I'm going to maintain, I'm going to optimize my campaigns, I'm going to optimize my media buys. You kind of have to break that up and follow a routine like that, or you end up getting a little bit of everything done, but nothing done 100%.
And I think that we should add this to the slide as well, but I think that ties in well to like shiny object syndrome. As far as you try one thing, it doesn't work instantly for you. You see some other guide or something that shows that some guy's making a ton of money, and you jump into that. You jump into the next thing, and you never give yourself the time to succeed.
Yeah, and you're exactly right. That's time and time again that I say it's and I'm guilty of it myself though. So I think it's kind of common amongst entrepreneurs to kind of have the ADHD to where you're thinking about, well, what else could I do over here or here? Because you have so many ideas as an entrepreneur. That's what makes entrepreneurs. And so it's just all about kind of sticking with that one though. Then you can kind of seeing it through because it's very easy to have stuff spread out everywhere, and you have to remember we only have 24 hours in a day. So,
Yeah.
all right, so let's move forward here a little bit, and let's get into the next big one here, and that's budgets. I think that both me and you training publishers and affiliates over the years, it's always well, okay, I need a budget, but now how much?
Yeah. And the rule of thumb is like at least $3,000 to $5,000, but obviously the more you have, the better. Because if you don't have enough money, you have to first understand that this whole business runs on investment. So if you only start with $100 and you invest that, even if you make 100% ROI, you're only going to make $200. You're only going to make the $100 back. And obviously, most of us can't live off $100 a month. However, if we have 10 grand and we're making 100% ROI, now we're making $10,000 a month, and that is a substantial amount of money for a lot of us.
Right. Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. I think when I first personally got started doing high volume media buys, spending a lot to return a lot, that's really where I broke through, but I had to train my mind a different way to think. I had to look at my budget differently than I did in real life, so to speak. You look at $1,000 or $2,000, and I mean, that's a lot of money, of course. But then you look at it from a media buying standpoint, you're like, okay, well, that's gonna that's gonna get me going. But I think high volume media buying is just not precision to where you can just take a small amount. You have to have a sustainable budget, and trying to test with $100, $10 a day, that's really tough, especially on CPA offers.
Yeah, absolutely. And because I knew that we were going to be doing this webinar, I was actually looking back through a few of my old notebooks. And back when I was first trying to learn mobile, I had written down that I lost 6,000 before I was still doing well, but I wasn't making a profit. It was just basically breaking even. And luckily, I still had funds because then I had to wait for the affiliate network to pay me before I could reinvest them. So technically, I think I started with right around like 12, 13,000 just to for the cash flow. Because some people, even if they do have $1,000 and they use it and they only make 800, now they're gonna have to wait from their affiliate network to get paid a month from now. They're not gonna be able to continuously run their campaigns and continuously test.
Yeah, cash flow is a big thing in business, and it's been a thing that's been many hurdles I've had to overcome, especially with media buying. When I first got started, I too I had profitable campaigns, but I couldn't float the spend because here I am, trying to put 10, 20 grand a day on an American Express, and at the time I was 21 years old, and people, American Express is wondering what's he doing, and so that was a big holdup. You have everything that's winning, but it's capital holding you back, and so that can be a big problem. There's nothing worse than stopping a campaign that's giving you a significant amount of profit. And the only reason you have to stop it is because you can no longer spend on your card or your capital is dried up and you got to wait on that affiliate network to pay you. So you're right, budget's more than just, what can you invest into media buying, but what can what do you have to float you once you do get successful?
Yeah, and one thing I do want to say to everyone out there is please do not use money that you don't have. And what I mean by that is I've had a few people reach out to me saying that they, got coaching, did all this stuff, and then now they're like $25,000 in credit card debt because they threw it all on a credit card expecting that they were going to make it back, and it just didn't happen for them. So now they're back to work, and they're having to, not only are they worse off than they were before, but it's going to take them a substantial amount of time to pay that off.
That's great advice, and I second that 100%. I've seen success stories come from both sides of the fence. People that had a lot of capital to invest or had a little bit of capital, and I've seen people that did not have a lot. But the people that did not have a lot, they waited. And I've had some people that come to me, hey Ryan, I'm getting a second job, and the money I'm able to get from the second job, I'm going to invest. And I have some that will do services. They'll go out throughout the internet and start doing SEO or web design or mobilizing people's sites, kind of building up capital, because you definitely do not want to do that. You don't want to get in credit card debt. I suggest starting out with a debit card, and if you're just kind of working with your cash flow that way. I think that's one of the smarter ways, but to each their own. All right, so let's talk about budget consideration here. Let's talk about, okay, so we have that, we've got that in our mind now. We know that every business takes capital. But where are we going to use that budget? And I think this is a big thing that even for guys and gals that are really doing well, are they reinvesting properly? Because there is so many different tools, softwares, trainings out there. I mean, there's so many different things. You really have to consider where you want to put that budget.
Yeah, I mean, if you spend all this money on courses, training, and software, and then you don't even have enough for spend, you need to really figure out how to manage it and get only the essentials. Only the bare minimum tools that you need. Once you feel confident that you've purchased training or become part of a mastermind that you feel is enough, then use the rest of your cash flow for campaign spend. Don't go sitting there thinking that you're missing, some magical thing and go buy 20 different courses, because what's ultimately going to happen is you just burnt up all your money that you could have used testing.
Yeah, I've seen that. I've seen that a lot throughout this industry. As people will go on to the next one, kind of stick with one thing and see it through. And set some goals. I think that's, and we'll talk about that here in a second about goal setting and effectively doing it. But obviously, for any online business, you're going to have some money aside for your domains and hosting. Even if you are using a software as services for your landing pages and for everything else, your ad serving, you're still going to need hosting at one point or another. You just are. You're going to need it for an agency site. You've got to represent yourself. So I think a lot of people don't think about that either when they get started. They got to have some form of online presence and the essentials, which I call domains and hosting kind of the water of the internet, because without them, we're kind of just sitting out here.
Yeah, and don't go cheap on hosting. Don't go getting 50-cent hosting and running all your stuff on it. Work with someone that is trustworthy, and we'll be talking about a few of those here in a moment. But I've seen far too many people running on like $1 host, and the thing just keeps crashing. It's not worth it. You gotta think how much money is being lost by you having to deal with a hosting company that is not quick with support and doesn't have that. You're not purchasing the right resources for the tools that you're using.
Yeah, that's, back when we ran IamGrind, there were so many people that came into me, using HostGator, and this is back when the HostGator EIG acquisition had just happened, and so they were trying to reorganize a lot of stuff in their company, and then I think still around at this time, there was their data center fire. It was a huge setback to a big portion of the internet, and I remember in the Grind forum, all these people coming to me, having all these issues. Either it was a week of downtime or not enough resources. So that's when we said, you got to make sure you do have the right resources, because that makes a difference. Your page load time can make a huge difference, especially if you're doing pops and redirects. And those of you that run heavy traffic, you already know that if your page is slow, then your latency is a bad thing. And that's why we see so many big pubs that are using Cloudflare as a CDN or other types of CDNs. Amazon's great as well. But anything to boost those images speed and to make your JavaScript and all that stuff compressed.
Yeah. I think we're ready for the next slide, because everything else kind of already discussed.
Yeah, let's move here and talk about these goals that are a good thing to set. When you're getting started, I put, and this is looking at from now here in November to January. Right now is a great time. Things are winding down for the year. The holidays are you're about to, have some time with family. Now's a good time to sit down and say, okay, what is my goal going to be by January 2017? Not my resolution, my goal from right now in November until January. What's it going to be? And maybe that is starting to run campaigns, or maybe to have my first $100 a day campaign. Maybe it's my first $1,000 a day campaign. But you've got to start somewhere, and it's probably at first profitable campaign. Don't you agree, Brent?
I would say even just a break-even campaign, because at least with the break-even campaign, most people think that they look at that as a loss, like, oh, I'm not profitable yet. But I kind of look at that as a win, because you have to realize that data is the most important thing in affiliate marketing, and if you're essentially getting that data for free, is how you have to look at it, because you're breaking even. You're sitting there and gathering valuable data that you can then use to test other things to finally make a profit. And so if you can at least break even, then you're doing something right.
Yeah, that's good advice, and that's in any business, though. I mean, I think any business that, if you're starting out and you want it to go full time eventually, as long as you're making revenue, you're going to not only gain that data, but you're going to learn from it. You're going to learn from how it came in and your different traffic sources and ways to expand. I think that's a huge education in itself.
Yeah. And then, once you get to that point, then you can start doing baby steps, $10 a day, $100 a day. And this all depends on your budget. Going back, if you have a much larger budget, you can hit those next milestones much quicker. But if you're running with a very limited budget, you want to go after, these small steps. Now, obviously, if you can hit $100 or $1,000 a day profit, then do it. But, don't assume that you're going to get there right away. It's much better to have realistic goals and to do it one milestone at a time. And it's also good for your psyche as well.
Yeah, I think a big thing we don't talk about enough, and that's just the entrepreneur depression and getting in the dumps overall, that I think almost every entrepreneur faces, especially nowadays with technology, because we're isolated to an extent. So, I think that's a big thing to kind of stay motivated altogether.
Yeah, because it's every day we're looking at our stats, and if we're doing bad, we feel horrible, and when we're doing really well, we get super manic and think we can take on the world, so to speak.
You're exactly right, man. I mean, those days, there's nothing like when you're just killing it. When you have a good campaign going and you walk around 10 feet taller, and I mean, isn't that the truth?
Yeah, absolutely. And the opposite, though, hurts. Like, you sit there and you just lost all the profit from the previous excellent day, and you're sitting there grinding, and it's a bad feeling. But if you have these milestones and you have these expectations that happens, even with that, me and Ryan, then it you just got to realize it's part of the industry, and it'll get better as long as you keep working at it.
Yeah, I always say I like to go to trade shows when I'm doing really good, because you kind of walk out with confidence and making new connections. And then I hate going to conferences if I'm not doing really good. And I've been on airplanes, where everything's great, and I get there and the campaign craps out on me or a problem happens, and it just almost ruins my whole time. But I always say it's one of my favorite things about going to a conference and doing well. But I do think goals, you need to be setting them, put them where you can see and hold yourself accountable to them.
Yeah.
All right, let's keep on going here. All right, so now we know about a budget overall. We kind of know what we need in as far as our tools and our hosting and all that stuff. And we've set goals. Well, what do you need per campaign? That's something. Okay, you got a budget now. Well, how much? Is it $100 a day, $700 a week? Is it $10 a day, 70, or is it $70 a week? What's your budget? So Brent, how do you figure this when you're going into a campaign?
Well, the first thing is it depends on your targeting. So, for example, if I'm going in wide open, I'm going to need a substantial amount of cash to see what's working. Too many times I see people go in, and a lot of times they don't even have a budget in mind. So they'll just launch something, they'll see it lost $25, and then they'll shut it off. And they just flat out lost that $25 because they didn't have a roadmap, a plan of how much budget did they actually need to successfully test. And so with kind of going back to the people with limited budgets, it's much better to stick with a specific set of targeting rules and then narrow it down to a much lower budget for that set of targeting. So for example, instead of targeting an entire country, every carrier, every operating system, narrow it down to a specific operating system, a specific carrier, even specific categories on a traffic source, and then you can figure out your budget of what you're going to use for that specific test. And one thing that's important is write it down. So if you're willing to spend $100 on this campaign to actually get data, then let the campaign spend that $100. Don't turn it on thinking you're going to spend $100. Then you see that it didn't get any conversions after 15 and then shut it off. Because even if it doesn't convert at all, you're still getting valuable data because you need to realize that you now know what's not working so you can avoid that on your next test. You can actually blacklist the metrics that were performing poorly.
I think that's my first step, and we'll talk a little about optimization here a little bit later. But when I'm budgeting, I start off every campaign. I have that budget that I start off with, and let's just say on average, pretty much it's $100, $25 to $100 I'll set it to. $25, I create the ads late at night, and then go to bed because I might forget to see what's running. So I'll set it at $25 and check it. But once I'm there to watch it, I'll typically set each campaign that I'm starting out to $100. And I'll start with one and look at it. And like Brent said, the very first thing you're going to see is a lot of targets, a lot of data coming in from sites and placements that don't convert. But you can't panic pause. You have to make sure the amount's substantial enough, and we'll go through that when we talk about optimizing. But without throwing your budget at it and kind of eliminating that, you're not going to know. And over time, you'll find out that the more campaigns you launch, you're going to have a list you build of these site IDs, of these apps that don't perform for that campaign or that niche or that country. And it's kind of a thing that develops, continues on, and we'll talk about that as we get more into optimization. But I think $10 a day, $70 a week is just not realistic to gather almost any data. What do you think, Brent?
Well, Okay, so I mean, if you do have a limited budget and all you can spend is $10 a day, then then so be it. We all had to start somewhere, but the, make sure that you allow yourself. Okay, so if you have a smaller budget, that's only $10, then you're going to have to let it run for a substantial amount of time because just because you run it at $10 doesn't mean that's enough to actually get enough data. What it means is you're going to have to let your campaigns run much longer to still hit that $100 target or that the $700 target if it's depending on the campaign that you're running.
So that's good advice, Brent. So instead of if you have the $100 a day to test, you test it for a week for your 700 spend. If you don't, if you have $10 a day, well then you're going to be running it for quite some time to get that data. That way you can see what kind of traffic you're getting, where you can optimize, and what's happening.
Yeah, and unfortunately, if you have if you're sitting there messing around with smaller budgets, you have to understand that you're at a severe disadvantage because people with larger budgets are going to come in, they're going to get that data much quicker than you, and they're going to be able to optimize past where you currently are much quicker.
Well, and that's with me. I've been doing this for a long time. So when I start a campaign, I said $25 if I'm going to sleep and not going to watch it. Once I get there to watch it, I set it about $100. And then I sit there and wait and see what happens. And so if I start to see conversions coming in, even if it's just a couple, I'll up my budget to 200 because I'm getting more data. And then after 200, as long as I'm still seeing more conversions come in, I'll kind of keep going up until I can give myself as long of a test as I can, withstand. But the campaign's got to be showing some type of promise, and I'll look for obviously multiple conversions from one particular placement or app. That's you start seeing those patterns, and then you want more of that data, so you can see, well, did it convert because it was matched right, or was it just a fluke?
Yeah, I know we're not really talking about optimization right this second, but you did make a good point that if you use that first $100 and all of a sudden you see that a particular carrier or whatever combo of data is performing extremely well, allow your first campaign to continue running, but use the new data that you just got and create a new campaign and give it its own new budget to test. So for example, if your original campaign was $100 spend and it spent $50 and you've seen that all the conversions were from a specific carrier, create a new campaign targeting just that specific carrier and give it its own test budget to see if that continues.
Yeah, good idea. Good kind of isolation, testing by isolation. That's a good technique. Okay, let's keep going here. We got a good bit of material, and everyone, we're going to try to keep this to an hour. If we go a little bit over, then we apologize, but we'll stick with you until we get through it. Okay, so what's working as we go into 2017? This is a question that I've been getting a lot recently. As the recent months coming in to new year, people are looking to set business plans and what's working, what isn't, and what do I need to concentrate and focus my time on. So I think here's some of the top categories that what's working in 2017 and what people are heading in to work on, and that's app installs, complex funnels, and I'll have Brent explain a little more what that is, pay-per-call, lead gen, and making your own assets. And that making your own assets has been the same thing I've been saying since 2011 when I first started coaching mobile. You should always be making your own assets somewhere along the line. But we'll get into detail. Go ahead, Brent, and give us your thoughts here on funnels and stuff going into 2017.
Well, we have some slides that we'll be going into, but yeah, I mean, the main thing is the entire industry, especially in mobile, is getting much more difficult only because of the amounts of people that are finally getting into it. And also, me and you, Ryan, we were just having this conversation, a lot of the original offers that made mobile successful are not really working out as much anymore. And both advertisers and publishers are having to get more and more aggressive in countries where, if they get caught, that's some bad stuff. So, I don't really see those offers. They'll always be around, but if you're currently running stuff like that, it's best to start to test new things. Use the profits that you're getting to test, maybe some app installs if you're not doing it yet. Start to run complex funnels, which we'll go into a bit later here. Right. And also, like the up-and-comers is definitely pay-per-call. Even still, we had we had a webinar that I think it was 2 years ago already that we talked about pay-per-call, and still we haven't really seen anyone discussing it yet. So I'll definitely bring out some more material on that because no one else is doing it yet. And lead gen stuff, that's we're not talking about just like sweepstakes and stuff. We're talking about actual lead gen for like local businesses, health insurance, auto insurance. There's tons of different companies that are needing leads that are not fly by night. They'll be around for a long time. And obviously, making your own assets ties into all that stuff.
Yeah, definitely. That's in any of these categories. I think it's going to be interesting when we do get to talking about some of that pay-per-call stuff that we do, Brent, and kind of hit, especially in the local areas. I think people will be kind of shocked at what's out there and no one's really talking about, but it's definitely very lucrative. So looking forward to that. All right, so let's talk about apps for a little bit because hands down, it's my favorite offer to run right now is app installs. So that's me personally because I'm pretty busy. I've got a lot of stuff going on nowadays with multiple companies and developing our software and everything I have going on. I like to run apps. Why? Because I can just use their banners, use that's provided by the client. I can run volume to them, and they pay me per conversion or per install. And it's all there really is to it. And so once I figure out what's working, which most of the time it's the day of the week and the time of the day, and I scale that up, and I just set up campaigns like that, and it's my favorite thing to do running right now. And also I love it because I can be on my tier 1 traffic sources without problem. There's nothing else to it. It's I can get traffic quick. I don't have to hassle and worry about the approvals. I just move forward, and that way we can move really fast. And so now, being able to approach, or people approach us, hey, I've got an app. We want a lot of installs to it. Can you do it? Well, yeah. I think that's definitely 2017 is, and we've of course made plenty throughout these other years, but I think 2017 is going to be something even bigger in apps.
Yeah, to go on the opposite side of pros, though, is the cons of it. We're noticing that a lot more affiliates, or a lot more apps, rather, are not on affiliate networks. And the reason for that is because the term affiliate, because of all these people running aggressive stuff, has kind of put a sour taste in these advertisers' mouth as far as, the term affiliate usually comes with the term basically bad quality in most cases. And so these app install companies, these app companies, they need installs that are actually making them money. And so quality is a huge concern. So if you're not able to send quality traffic to these app installs, you're not going to be around very long if you can even get cap in the first place. Now that's why, as Ryan mentioned, running on Facebook and Google and Twitter and stuff like that, as long as the advertiser allows it, is the place to be. The days of running app installs on POP, as many of you know, is going to be dying off and has been dying off for a while. So the good news with that is you have to look on the bright side is less competition that's able to get to it, the more opportunity for the ones that are willing to jump through those hoops and actually get the cap for these app installs.
What you want to do is when you're looking at quality on an app install and you're the affiliate, the best thing you can look at to start is the click to conversion time. And I know we provide this report simply in iMovie Tracks under the report section. You select your campaign and you run a timestamp of when the click was made, and then you run the second column of when the conversion pixel fired. And then you create a formula in Excel, and then you can compare that data. And the apps that have a click to install time has a little bit of time lapse, not a lot. Obviously if it's like 0 or like a second, that's most likely a bot, or that's someone that put it on there for some reason and then wiped it right off. And there's a number of different reasons. That's the first quality metric when you're doing app installs to look at, and that's something you can do on your end as the affiliate. Because if those numbers are looking, a second or two together, something's amiss with that, and you need to shut that source down, because even though it's converting, something's not right with it, and you're eventually going to lose, you could lose revenue on it. So that's something that a lot of people don't realize you can do, but that's a huge thing you can do on the quality, because I agree, that's tough.
And I know that you were having that problem just, what was it, just a few weeks ago on AdWords, right?
Yeah, just getting bots and fake installs. And it really took me off guard because I haven't seen that with AdWords specifically, especially into the volumes that I was seeing it. So there's definitely some evildoers doing stuff out there. Um, but that in general, because if someone is just downloading it to download it and not interested about the app, they'll typically download it, maybe install it or run it and then or just delete it. So that's just a good quality metric. Let's go
Yeah.
into. Go ahead.
Well, one thing I was just going to suggest is go ahead and install, not through your own affiliate link. I guess you could, but you'll probably be a low quality install. But make sure that you install the app that you're promoting and try and figure out how they're monetizing it, because that's very important. If you're sending a bunch of people that may not have the money to be purchasing in-app purchases, and you're sending them to an app that only monetizes through in-app purchases, your quality is going to be substantially low. Meanwhile, if they're monetizing through, ads, then the quality will still be a concern, yes, based on how long they actually install it, how much they use the app, but at least you just got to tie the two together. Does my demographics match the people that would be interested and be a good customer for this app?
Right. Yeah, that's definitely, and that's one of the first things I do before I start my campaigns is I install it on my device. Use the preview link. You don't want to start your quality off with one bad install, or tell your AM or whoever you're working with, don't count this. It's mine. 80% of the work though is getting the best deal, getting the best offers, getting what's hot. If you're just taking a cold app, an app that's just been developed, and you're going to market with it, that's like launching a business. And I think that people they've gotten confused nowadays. There's been too much Shark Tank and stuff to where they think they just come up with a great app idea, and then it's going to magically get all these installs, and that's not the case. We see that. It's just not. So you're looking as an affiliate or as an agency, you want the best deal. You want what's popular. 20% of the work. Oh, go ahead.
I was going to say you also want. Okay, so you had mentioned that brand new app creators come in and then all of a sudden they give it to different agencies and stuff. Well, if they're expecting awesome quality, you have to realize that they have to optimize their app, the back end, to actually make the app make money for them. So if it's a brand new app, it's a much less likely scenario that any traffic at all is going to do well on that app if they haven't monetized it properly yet. So it's actually better in the app space to work with an app that knows their KPIs, has been around, and actually has monetized their back end to convert a lot more traffic.
Yeah, exactly. And we see a lot of clients come to us and they say, well, we just developed this app, we have capital, but we want you to drive us a bunch of installs. I say, no, thank you. No, you have to do some of your own marketing, get stuff going, and make sure it's going to work before you come into me, because it becomes a liability as soon as I start floating the spend for their installs. It becomes a tremendous liability because maybe they're going to walk off if they didn't monetize their app correctly. Okay, so now with all this stuff said, you need to remember that you've got to represent yourself as an agency. Brent hit on this. The word affiliate has become tainted in the app space, and with good reason, and that's because of the number of incent and content locking that goes on in mobile. Those that are saying, you get a free whatever for filling out this or downloading this app, that's incent. And then content locking saying, of course, you're locked out of this content. Do you complete this offer? Download this app. And so the big app advertisers have had all this happen to them every way you can imagine. This has happened to them. So they're high alert, especially when it comes to paying you for the install, that you're sending quality of traffic. And so if you don't represent yourself correctly, they don't want to do business with just a screen name. They want to see a site or a LinkedIn. They want someone to talk to them on the phone. They don't want to they won't do it.
Yeah, especially because a lot of them, sorry, you cut out a bit in my internet. It was a bit choppy, so I don't know if you've just mentioned this, but the main thing is a lot of these app companies are only letting agencies run it as far as internal as well. So even if they do give it to an affiliate network, a lot of times they only let their internal media team run it and not even allow that app to go out to the affiliates.
That's what we do at RevMax primarily with apps, because of that. Because I know that I can micromanage our internal buyers, and tell them to go once I get something going. I give it to them, and we scale that way. And then that way, the internal side, it works the affiliate network because you're only working with the people I can talk to, and obviously the payment terms are different. So I think that's two big things that if you're looking for app installs, don't limit yourself just to one place. Get out there and get these deals. There's tons of places to get them, but go out and find the best ones.
Yeah. And you also mentioned on the slide that traffic is easy because you're direct linking. That's absolutely true. And that's with good apps. A lot of times, like we've probably all seen Game of War ads and stuff. They've been spending, what was it, $40 million a month or something like that to advertise. So people know it already. They're going to install it. While a lot of other more aggressive offers need a very aggressive landing page or something like that. So apps, if you can actually get them, are much easier for newbies, so to speak, as long as you know basic marketing, you can understand the quality concerns that the merchant will have.
Right, and it's top tier type stuff too. I mean, if you're using that tier, use that tier 2 and tier 3 traffic sources for your mobile billing offers. I mean, because it's just easier to get. Use your tier 1 for your app installs, so you get good quality banner traffic. The users up front, they know that's going to expand the industry. If you're trying to cut corners and low quality traffic, it'll really be a deal killer. So, you're looking for traffic that you can easily direct link, but on top tier sources. Don't go at a second or third rate one just because it may be a little cheaper or their opening deposit. I mean, there's all kinds of things that you can throw in there, but go for your tier 1 sources.
And if you absolutely have to use tier 3 or something, POP or something, let the advertiser know so they can give you a new link and they can test how well it does without destroying your currently successful campaign.
Right. Yeah. If you find yourself just having to go over there, let them know it's different. But I just don't recommend starting with it. There's so many other places to start where you can get good quality. On the screen too, I also listed agency website, agency LinkedIn, and these are things maybe you can jot down. Maybe you already have them, but the reason why I mention these because these things are how I've made several $1 million this last year in app installs because I found the right deals, and I did it by having a good agency website, a good agency LinkedIn, a good personal LinkedIn, and a big presence online in general. Getting out here, even doing this webinar tonight. I don't hide behind the computer. I'm out there because I want the best deal. And I want to work with good business people so we all make money and it all works together. So you have to put yourself out there so people know they can trust you and that you're legitimate and going to work with you. I think go ahead.
I was going to say that was an unforeseen benefit with my blog. Like when I started blogging and PPC mode has been growing, I've been getting hit up by all sorts of different people looking for leads for businesses I never even really thought of generating, leads for, sales for. And so I'm getting deals that other people can't just because they're learning from me, So another good thing is as you learn, go ahead and blog, get yourself out there, letting people know that, you are trustworthy. And I'm not saying you got to start a entire blog and blog all the time, but just really getting yourself out there as an expert, showing them somehow that you know what you're talking about will give you a much better chance, than someone that just has an agency site with no personal name on there, no contact information or anything like that.
Right, exactly. That helps so much, and that's one of the biggest things I did for my career many years ago was start blogging, start getting out there, start going to trade shows, looking people in the eye and meeting them, getting behind the computer, and it comes from the deal. But at the same time, you want apps that are popular, and we talked about this. You don't want ones that are just getting started. So if they have good reviews and ratings, they do populate, like in AdWords. The creatives will show the star rating and the number of downloads. So that's definitely a benefit for CTR.
And take this advice because me and my other buddy were actually just having a conversation that he ran some new app that was from Russia or something. I forget exactly where. But they owe him $15,000 and the company went out of business because they couldn't get their Series A or whatever funding. So make sure that the app company is going to be around to pay you, even if they
See,
are.
I cap them. Every new client at 10 grand, and then even if I know them, I cap them at 50 grand. After that, then then I'm gonna have to wait until I get paid a little bit more because I'm not gonna play that game. So, you can do great revenues, but that burns me up. I hate to hear those type stories. But yeah, make sure you're working with legit people. Let's take a look here. This is some stuff you can look at when you're doing your app research. And SimilarWeb's probably one of my favorite tools right now, and this always varies from year to year, what's out there, what's best, and I'm really cheap. I hate to spend money. So I look for free tools and free data as much as I can. So this is SimilarWeb from their free site, just looking at the solitaire. And so some things I look for is this tells me total installs. So maybe when you're working with your advertiser, your affiliate network, whoever has the apps, start plugging them into SimilarWeb and looking. Total installs just tells us that they're not fly-by-night. They're probably gonna, they've got it figured out. They know it works. The rating tells us they're giving a good user experience, especially basing off 1.3 million. So this tells us all this is a great quality app. This is a great quality game to promote, and it's also one that's going to work because they know what's going on. So that's the type of offers you're looking for. Look at the ranks by the country. Look, once you see they're number one in games and cards in Canada, number one in France, number one in the United Kingdom, number one in the United States. See in the games and cards category, that's big because so this is the top. So it's again a great quality product. It's branded. It's well known. People can look at the reviews. That's a big pre-seller for you. Is they're going to look at these reviews and they're going to see 1.3 million. Well, they're going to be more likely to download that app than they would something that had a bad rating or not enough votes.
Yeah, I think you pretty much covered it actually on that. So.
Yeah. That's just stuff that a lot of people won't look at. They'll just go straight to throwing an app in there. Well, look at that data. This is your conversion tip of the night, and write this down when you're running app installs. Look to buy ad inventory in similar apps. And this runs true across the game category specifically, but it can work through across other niches. The card game niche is a big one, obviously, solitaire. If you're advertising solitaire, you can advertise in other solitaire apps or similar apps because a lot of times we reach that same audience, and that audience always wants the next best thing, or they want to try another game, and so that it works out really nicely when it comes in time for conversions, to looking at what's working and what's not. And you'll see this. You can go out and gather your data yourself, but I'm telling you based on what works. You kind of want to make the whole flow seamless. Your banner looks like what they're in already, or their mindsets in that card game in solitaire, and then they click, then they go to an app. Well, then the reviews and downloads help pre-sell it, and it's a successful conversion. So I see a lot of people coming to me when stuff isn't converting, but they're targeting cooking and they're advertising solitaire. Sometimes niches may cross, but for the most part, at least start where you have an advantage.
Yeah, I mean, it comes down to user intent, and you already kind of covered it, but if someone's looking up cooking recipes and then you're trying to advertise solitaire or vice versa, it may work a few times, but the quality wouldn't be as good as someone that is playing either like a casino app or a blackjack, and then you show them solitaire because they've already proven that they like to play card games and different gambling games.
Yeah, the biggest thing you're going to lose is that conversion rate, that EPC that sends you over the top. And so the most important thing you can look at to optimizing these campaigns is passing the mobile app that it's in, or your placement. So if you're using Google AdWords, you can see you want to append, this to your tracking IDs, and this is how it goes, because this is the data you're looking at. So it's a macro for AdWords that you set, and then it returns these apps, and this is actually where you're getting your traffic from. So AdWords does it per app. Some other sources do it by just a blind ID, but that's the most important optimization you make, because you'll find a lot of these that get a lot of clicks and no conversions. They're clickjacking in the apps. And it's click fraud.
Yeah, we just had that conversation because I think you were dealing with that, where there's all these new apps that their whole basically monetization model is to get people to just randomly click on ads. And yeah, you're getting a ton of cheap clicks, but it's going to be terrible, terrible quality, and it's just going to burn up your budget. So using these different IDs to turn around and target specific apps that make sense for the app that you're marketing will not only help with your quality as far as getting relevant people to install similar apps, but it will also help in defending against click fraud.
Exactly, exactly. And you can look these up. If you just go to the Apple App Store in your browser, the 9-digit ID is going to be on every Apple link. And then the Google Play apps is always going to be the package name. And so you can see I've got an example here. This is for AliExpress. So it's ID equals the package name. So you can put that in the URL of the Google Play Store and actually go look. So what I'll do is if I see an app that sends a lot of clicks and not a lot of conversions or no conversions, I'll download the app and see what they're doing. And most of the time they're clickjacking. And Google, they're trying to prevent that, but some get away with it because they're so clever about it. But since I'm in the industry, I sit and I'll play that app all day long until I figure out how they're doing it.
Yeah, and usually it's a lot more aggressive than you would imagine.
Oh, yeah, always, always. So what you see, though, is once you really can laser this down into conversion or into placements that convert, you're going to find even your biggest spend campaigns, you're just focusing on a set of data. It's a certain banner, it's a certain placement, and you're just going to focus and scale on that. And so after time of finding the site IDs that don't work or the placements that don't work or the apps that don't work, you'll start to block those. And I've got Excel file after Excel file of block lists, of good converters, of good game converters, and then when you're launching your new campaigns after you have that data, you go in with a big advantage. So to get this, to start getting good ROIs like what you're seeing on the screen, is you have to have data. You have to have multiple conversions. Nothing is more frustrating trying to help someone when there's no conversions, because the only thing you say is, well, it's not working. I mean, overall, obviously it's not working. But why? I'm really guessing without any conversions other than it's targeted wrong or wrong engagement, or maybe it's fake clicks. I don't know. That's the big thing. So it's got to have more conversions than one. In the site placements we talked about, got to have those. Banners and creatives, you need to be tracking those. If you're using iMobi Tracks, this is all in the traffic macros. You set this up. Operating system, you need to know what operating system that user is on for the app, and whether it's iOS or if it's Android, you need to know, and you need to try to know what version. And that's important because you're going to find different versions convert differently based on the app. So depending on how they developed the app and when it was last updated, you might find that a certain user group converts better. And so a lot of times we see this when it's just a high-end device. It's people that have upgraded their phones or running the newest OS convert better because they're more engaged. Maybe they're younger audience that are just getting more adapted to the technology. It can be a number of different reasons, but the OS plays a huge role in how things convert. But next being your week and day parting. No day is the same in app installs. Some are really good, some are pretty bad, depending on the hour. So those are your other optimization points. And of course, you need to know if it's a smartphone or a tablet.
Yeah. And the only thing I have to add there is, like with the operating systems, if the app, for example, needs Android 4.0 minimum, and you're saying a bunch of 3.2 or 3.3, it's not going to convert because that app they can't install it.
Right.
Their phone or the app their phone is too old. And then as far as like the smartphones and tablets, you should also make sure that you ask the advertiser or your affiliate manager or whoever can give you data which device type is performing the best, because you have to realize the intent of someone using their smartphone is going to be different than their tablet. They're usually at home, more so than smartphones. And some apps do better when people are always using them, like push notifications to monetize and stuff like that.
Yeah, it's a big thing, and that's something that a lot of people they just don't think about. So these are your main points. I want to keep moving here because we do have several other slides, and I don't want to keep everyone here all night, but there's some important stuff that I want to get to, and not that this isn't. This is very important stuff. These 6 things are what the main things you need to use to optimize your apps. I mean, without them, without them, you're just putting yourself at a huge disadvantage. So now I want to talk about a funnel, and we kind of hit on this, but this is also what's working as we go into 2017, and something that we really, me and you got back in 2012, and I had started doing this, and me and you kind of got together, and we started building these massive conversion funnels, and it's been a lot of fun, but I think a lot of people have a hard time complexing what a funnel is. So, Brent, how would you explain it to someone? It's okay. Well, are you talking like a click funnel? Are you talking like a lead gen funnel? What kind of funnel?
Well, in this sense, I mean, all those are funnels, first off. But what I'm meaning by funnel is what a lot of people focus on. First off, is they're always focusing on trying to get a cheap CPC. They're always focused on cheap traffic, and they only will work on optimizing the stuff and canceling it out at your traffic source, for example. But what happens if you can't actually pause anything at your traffic source? What happens if the traffic that's not converting on your current offer, you have to purchase it? And that's where funnels come into play. And the purpose of a funnel is to use every single click and to monetize it the best you can. So if you're getting iPhone traffic, for example, and you have no choice but to purchase it, but it's not working on your primary offer, then figure out other ways to generate revenue for that. And it could be sending it to another offer. It could be, building in your own app or just reselling it to a traffic source. It could be multiple different things. But your main goal has to be, what can I do with this traffic? What can I do to up my EPC? And that way you're always making your you're always making your funnel, generate more cash, and so then you don't have to worry about cheap clicks or new competition coming in, because you're always making your funnel a higher APC, and so you can go with those rising click prices.
Right. Yeah, that's what the thing I love about the funnel the most is it's not just dependent on one thing. One offer caps out. There's other things to bring it up. And sorry for me playing musical slides on you. Just started using Google Drive for this, and so I'm still not quite used to where I click on my view and where the screen view is. So sorry, everyone, about that. So funnel monetization options. The second most thing I like about funnels, other than not being mutually exclusive for one thing, is the creativity you can use in these. I think people, their mind gets too clouded and they're just thinking traffic and just this one offer. Well, especially with billing offers, a funnel of multiple offers, for different phones, and as Brent said, maybe you have to buy Android and iOS together, but the offer you want to run, you only want the Android. So you have to find something else to do with the iOS traffic. And maybe that's multiple CPA offers, lead capture funnels. Maybe you're saying it's your own assets you've been building or should be building, or maybe you sell the traffic back to other ad networks and get paid by the CPM. In some cases, that's allowed. There's people that do that and do very well, but you just have to be transparent about what you're doing with the network. But the options are just endless, really.
Yeah, I mean, just use creativity. I mean, when people tell me that they tested everything, I just laugh at them. And it's not because I'm trying to be mean. It's because, seriously, there's so many things you can test. For example, a crazy example at that, and I think he's actually on the call, ironically, is one of the guys that I know was sending traffic to a music offer that wasn't doing well. Some of the traffic wasn't doing well on his primary offer, and he's actually a musician. And so he started sending all that extra traffic to his YouTube videos and his websites, and he actually started growing his brand of music through his failover traffic. Now, obviously, he wasn't making an instant revenue from that, but he was still doing something with it since it wasn't converting for him anyway on his primary offer. So you can always do something with the traffic.
That's my brother owns a pro wrestling site. I've mentioned this in a couple of my trainings, but it's called WrestlingNewsWorld.com. I will sometimes send traffic to one of his apps. He's got an app called Dirt Sheet for pro wrestling, and very popular. But sometimes I will send failover traffic to that type stuff just to do something with it, or maybe it's a crazy idea to see, give my brother some tips and help him out about what's working. But yeah, if you just do anything with the traffic is better than nothing.
Yeah, and I think that ties into building assets because, for example, I was running a few slot apps, and I'll be honest, I wasn't being extremely successful at it. I got a buddy that kills it with slot apps, and so my goal, though, was a little bit different. I was just trying to break even on the slot traffic, and then I was sending all of the extra traffic to my own app to build it up, and now my app is generating month after month revenue from traffic I sent I don't know, 5 or 6 months ago now at this point.
Very
So
nice. Yeah, that's always nice when you're building something that of more value. I think a complex funnel, though, is a ticket to traffic for almost anything. Not just your own stuff, not just affiliate offers, not just cost per install. There's just so many different things. It can be a multiple of everything. So it gives you, because of all this, it gives you the biggest competitive advantage. Because if you've got more offers than, if me and Brent go head to head, and I've got some more deals than Brent, who's going to last longer against what traffic source? Because I've got more stuff to rotate, optimize, and produce profit. And I can also do volume in multiple geos. Brent and I were talking about this webinar yesterday. We're talking about setting up offers for all of Latin America. So you're not just focusing on Mexico. You're not just focusing on one or two countries. You're focusing on all of Latin America. And thankfully, we can kind of go across the same language barrier. But then when we're looking for offers to run, we're looking for all of Latin America. So it's all our money's not being made in Colombia. All our money's not being made in Mexico. It's kind of while Mexico may lead, the other countries are going to keep picking up the slack. So one country kind of goes down or has an issue, the other ones pick up the slack. So you're not left at zero, because man, that really gets frustrating.
yeah, and especially the other thing is with these complex funnels, having multiple offers that are working, period, is always suggested, because what happens if your primary offer goes down and everyone else, all your competition has one offer and you're running two offers? Now you just you just turn off the one that got paused. All your competition just dropped out, and you're still able to run because you already know another offer that's successful. So, and that just to bring something up as far as how Ryan was talking about Latin America, we actually did that for a while. In 2014, we were buying all this failover traffic from Latin America, all the countries there, because the traffic sources were selling it to us so jerk cheap, because it was all their bulk stuff, and we were just building a bunch of Spanish-speaking assets with it while still monetizing offers.
Yeah, and it's always been, one of my favorite regions. It just, makes it so much more pleasant than just relying on one country or one region. But let's take a look at one of these funnels looks like. And Brent, props for making this diagram. This is a map inside of Brent's head. This is how he thinks about campaigns. But I want you to use this as an example. Are you thinking out your campaigns? And to this extent, are you drawing them out? Are you doing something like this to get competitive advantage? Because guys like Brent and myself, this is how we go about it. Brent, go ahead and explain this masterpiece that everyone's looking at.
I don't know if I can. No. All right. So basically, it's all this is really breaking down every single action that the visitor is going to be able to take. And what I mean by that is this is actually only one. So what I mean by that is if you go all the way back to the left side, you can see that says tracker. Well, that's incoming traffic. So this is just for iPhone traffic. And so it's just for iPhone Verizon traffic. And so you show the best offer that you currently know is converting for iPhone Verizon traffic. And if they click through, then you can use these scripts and stuff to do an underpop. So if they actually click through, you underpop another offer, and if the traffic source allows it, so you have another chance to grab their attention and to convert them. But what happens if they're not interested in your original offer? Then they click the back button. So then you would want to show your second best converting landing page and offer. And obviously it goes down to, do they convert? If yes, then you're a happy camper because you just made money. If no, then you can do another back button. You can show some type of failover, and as you can see, it can get pretty complicated, because based on if you run out of offers and stuff, say that they're not interested in your first two offers, then you can finally start sending them to an app wall. You can resell the traffic back to an ad network, or you can even use a traffic trading system. And what a traffic trading system is I give clicks that I can't monetize to Ryan, say in Spain, and he's able to monetize them, and then he gives me traffic back for France or something like that. So those are just other examples. And I'll go ahead and send this out to all of you guys so you can go ahead and download it and everything and have it.
Yeah, it's such a great diagram just to kind of look at it. So people, they've heard the word funnel before, and so now you can actually look at the planning of a funnel, and a complex one at that, for mobile traffic. And a great idea that Brent mentioned that you should be using is, those of you that are on this call tonight, and there's quite a few of you, I can imagine that a lot of you talk to each other, right? I mean, you're in the same industry. You might know each other or see each other at a trade show. Make some connections. So if I call up Brent, hey Brent, I need some Spain traffic. What can you do for me today? Well, Ryan, okay, let's see what I can work out. What can you do for me? And you trade that off, and you make these relationships. That's a huge competitive advantage. I think people
Yeah,
don't look
absolutely.
at that.
Because then you got to look at it like you basically have a team. So obviously Ryan, if he's monetizing, if he's focused on Spain and I'm getting Spain traffic, but I haven't been running Spain, then I don't know what's working in Spain. But Ryan already has an optimized funnel, so if I send it off to him, and I've optimized France, for example, and he sends me France traffic, we're both going to make more money than sending it to our own funnels that are not optimized for that traffic.
Exactly. All right. So instead of us getting another offer at an affiliate network, we go get it from, or get that traffic from our buddy, and we can use our own funnels as the offer, which we can plug in as well. Okay. So let's talk about these assets. Now, this is just going to be just a highlight of your own assets here. I want to go into this much deeper, but that would be a lot longer. We're already 5 minutes after the hour, so I don't want to get too deep into making your own assets. But App Store optimization is the new SEO, so to speak. You can get a lot of downloads for free making your own apps. Don't think same old stuff, though. United States, same old popular keyword that everyone's going after. Go differently, go internationally, and think about stuff people need. Music, downloads, wallpapers, stuff. Use those keywords to go finding places that you're going to do your optimizations to where you want to rank, because it's a way that you can start generating free traffic, and lots of it, especially if you hit some of these high volume keywords. So, how many of you are doing it right now? Think about it. Make sure you stay tuned, because I do want to talk about this in detail, because you can do it with just a WordPress website and an app builder with no coding knowledge. And I've talked about this inside the RevMax Mastermind. Last couple of weeks, we've been talking about doing this for the holiday season and building up our Black Friday apps and our holiday shopping apps. It's also cool that you can leverage the traffic in your apps to promote offers. So once you have your own app, and maybe that you got that installed on your funnel, but now you have traffic on that app because you don't have the ad impressions. You can even send your own push notifications to that user. Now you want to be smart. You don't want to go spamming your app, the people that use your app, but news organizations use push notifications fantastically. I know CNN's a big one that's the national in the United States and worldwide that has a great app as far as the way they use their pushes. The app itself is kind of clunky, but using that as pushes, you're going to generate user interest, and so people don't think that, oh man, I can actually talk to my user through a push. Use that in the right way. It's huge.
Yeah, and as an example, what was it? I think like summer 2014, we had made a news site that all it did was use RSS feeds, available RSS feeds that made a news site for Kenya. And I think we started scaling it out to other countries as well. And that thing still gets installs. So, it's long term.
Yep, it's always there. Let's talk a little about the pros and cons of this too. So definitely want to hit that before we wrap this up. The pros, in my opinion, really outweigh the cons, because I always think you should be making an asset, and I've said this for years, and I'm going to continue to say it. If you're not out there building an asset, please in 2017, do it for me. Make you one or two, just so you're not going offer to offer, so you can utilize, you can go run the crap out of some app installs, make some good money, run the crap out of some billing offers, do up all your funnels you want. But there's going to come a time to where you're going to want to retain some of that. And so, and you can do it in so many different ways, the traffic that you're already sending. So I just really, I can't suggest it enough. But the cons, it's a little bit extra effort. It takes a little bit more time planning and developing. And, the rankings and traffic are not instant. I said that rankings and traffic are instant. They're not instant. There's a typo. You have to wait for it. You have to wait to rank for your term, and that can be a patience thing. Can be a big thing for people.
Yeah, but it comes back to it is long term. So just because what you're running right now is working doesn't mean it will be working in a month, 2 months, a year from now. But it's a high probability that your app or asset will. And even if you don't want to work with it anymore, if you can still sell the asset, you can sell on Flipper or something like that. And if it's making any revenue, it's actually worth quite a bit of money.
All right. All right. All right. Well, we've got several questions here. Let's get to something I want to talk about. Brent has a little surprise for us. Tonight, Brent is launching his Mobile CPA Bootcamp course. And so we had already planned this webinar, and we talked about his launch, so why don't we throw together a special for everyone that came out. So we've got some bonuses here, and we've got his course out here. So, and I think this will make it simple for those of you. So, Brent, you want to tell us a little bit about your course and who you developed it for and all that?
Well, the main thing is I've had my blog now for about 2 years, and for quite a while I've been getting several emails from people asking, what's the best course I should take, or where should I find more information? And the main thing was I didn't really have anywhere that I can send them. I've taken a few other courses, and honestly, they're either overhyped or they're just crap, flat out. And so what I did was I went back and I was like, okay, if I was just starting out today, what would I want to learn in order? And to be straight honest with you, I'm not going to hype this up. You can learn all this stuff on your own without taking the course. But what it will do is it will save you a substantial amount of time, because I've been learning this stuff since like 2005, and not necessarily just mobile, but tying all these marketing fundamentals together, tying how all this stuff works, because so many of you come into this industry and you expect to work at an expert level in one of the most competitive industries, but you don't even have the baseline skills that you need to even have any chance of success. And so what I did was in this course is I taught stuff that everyone else skips over. And what I mean by that is it's not going to teach you just step by step how to make a successful campaign. It's going to teach you the thinking and mindset behind everything, every step of the way, how to plan it, how to research it, and how to have the best chance of launching it successfully without spending an arm and a leg, without burning up your budget in a way that most newbies that don't know any better do. And so what better way to package it all together with not only a course, but every tool that you would need, even the mastermind where me and Ryan can answer further of your questions, and even giving you access to a new product that we're going to be doing, which is paid webinars, where we give exactly what we're doing each month. For that month, we're going to tell you guys exactly what we're doing. So you're always going to be up to date, because what I've noticed is most other guys in the industry at the moment, they're just rehashing stuff that it's been rehashed for the last 2, 3, 4 years. And so we want to bring some new stuff to you guys.
Yeah, there's still, a lot of the courses I look at, still a lot of stuff from the Moby Manifesto back in 2014, 2012. A lot of stuff continues to change, and so that's why, that's why it's so important to stay up to date. And as Brent mentioned, we're going to begin doing these webinars on a regular basis, and we'll get details on that. But this deal here tonight, I think it's a great opportunity. Those of you that are just wanting to get started in mobile, or those that are already running, maybe you want some new ideas. And Brent has more knowledge than almost anyone that I've ever met, because he can move very fast, and that's one of the greatest qualities about watching him media buy, is he can cover a lot of ground really quickly. So I think through that he's gained an immense amount of experience. As Brent said, we're going to throw in the forum for 3 months, and we cover a lot of stuff in the mastermind. We go into detail in a lot of the stuff that we talked about tonight, and we talk about what's working during the week. but we're going to throw that in to where you can actually post a follow along, and we can help you, one by one. Same with iMobi Tracks. We're going to hook you up for 3 months, because that's the first question here. We can kind of get to questions so we talk about this. First question I get is there's always so many freaking tools to glue together. It seems never ending, and that's true. There is so many components to mobile, and that's because it's not just on a computer, it's on all these phones. So we have to have these tools to look at what's working and to analyze the data, and that's kind of the bricks and mortar nowadays to starting a business are your tools. So that's why this package here kind of is the startup kit, because it's got everything you're gonna need.
So 1 sec, I'm seeing some questions flood in here that it's a 404. Go figure. Basically, my server has some issues. So just 1 second.
Right.
Not really my server. I accidentally had it in a different area. So it should be working now. Just getting blasted with questions. So.
Okay, so mobilecpabootcamp.com /go. So that's what you're looking for, and I tested on my end, and it is a go. So.
Sweet. Yeah, I guess that was my bad. Goes to show how often I'm trying to hard sell people. I'm doing the opposite here. So yeah, we should be good.
All right, sweet. So
Go ahead, Ryan.
All right, so someone had asked, can I recommend a good app builder? I do want to mention one really quick. Como.com is the quickest and easiest one that's used with WordPress and other CMSs. If you have a Facebook page, you can start to build an app with Como. So Como.com is, in my opinion, the easiest one. Is it the best? Well, you can debate that. But if you want to start producing and getting apps out without knowing any code, and getting people to download something that you actually own, that's where I would go. And that's something we've been covering inside the mastermind recently, as we're talking about how to use Como, how to use AliExpress to make your own holiday shopping app that you're going to get commissions and referrals for.
We also had another question of, it says he's been doing mobile for a while without much success, mostly because the offer almost always goes down within a week or two. What should we do? What should I do to deal with the situation? And we kind of covered that. I mean, I'm imagining, what kind of offers you're probably going after, and that's probably the reason. If it's mobile content or even some app, fly-by-night app installs that all these networks are pushing, then unfortunately, if you're only running one offer at a time, that's going to be what happens. There's no real way to get around that besides running multiple offers or finding offers that will be a bit more sustainable. And to kind of go just a bit further into that, obviously offers that are going to be around for a while aren't going to necessarily convert as well as the aggressive stuff, but they'll be around. They'll be longer term. And so, you may not get 100 to 200% ROI for a week, but you can absolutely make 30, 40, 50% for years if you find the right niche and you're rotating different offers and always optimizing it.
Yeah, if it's an offer that's more long term, I'll take lower ROI to have it in 6 months from now than to not. And owning and operating a network at RevMax, I know firsthand how hard and disappointing that hits people when they've worked so hard to get a country or an offer going, and then everything just seems to crash down at once. And that's just kind of the way it is with those offers. So that's why you have to test quick and go with what works fast. And if you're more longer term campaigns, you have to think more longer term.
Yeah. So got one other question. Well, multiple questions, but here's the next one. Basically asked, where can I read about the app Brent developed in the Kenya market? Is it in RevMax form? This app was from a while ago. So what I can do, no, it's not. But what I will do is I have launched a few apps since then that I have up-to-date data on, and I can definitely make a follow-along with apps every step of the way. And I'm sure that's actually one of the things Ryan and I were going to go over in one of our paid webinars as well, because there's several different ways you can make apps. Just because I show you a game or something, you're not limited to just that. There's several different ways to use it, and it's really dependent on the traffic that you're purchasing and the audience that you already have.
Right, right. Yeah, that's there's so many different aspects to that that you can look at, and um, I think that's that just creating your own country based app and having one almost in every market is also another a good idea. But yeah, seeing some of those examples would be really helpful. I do agree, and also I do in the mastermind have one on the AliExpress type deal. I've got a couple trains on that as well.
So we have another similar I believe it's from the same guy updating, telling us that he was using pin submits. And just to go in for the offers that are going up and down all the time, to kind of give you the realistic market of these pin submits, is what happens is the carriers can actually manipulate the conversion rates for a lot of these. And so it just comes down to, depending on the countries that you're running in, does that carrier need to hit new revenue goals, and are they willing to piss off their customers to do it, is really what it comes down to, depending on what you're running. Now, there is pin submits that are good offers where they actually do give a good game or they do give good content, but if you're running certain stuff, depending on where you're getting the offers, that's not the case.
Yeah, and that's there's two sides of that, a really good offer that's going to work and be around, and then the really aggressive guy that comes around and he's not going to be around, he or she's not going to be around in sometimes a month, a week even, whereas the others are trying to work really hard. So I think that's a big thing in this industry that we have to all be on the lookout for. What's good, what's not, what should I not promote, what should I promote, and go from there. And that's why LinkedIn is so important, is get on there and start finding out who actually owns the offers that you're promoting. I mean, ever since I've been an affiliate, I've found out who's paying me, where the money's coming from. I learn about that company, and if you can't find stuff, I don't know, I'd probably be thinking about that, wouldn't you, Brent?
Yeah, I got burned. Actually, we got burned. We were working with the fly-by-night, super high converting pin offer, and all of a sudden, time for payment. They disappeared.
Yeah, so it's like all that ROI was in vain. I mean, all the traffic spends lost, and
yeah, not only do you lose the profits that you were thinking that you were getting, you lost that initial investment, and it's very unlikely, depending on where these guys are, if they're in other countries, which most pin submit companies are, depending on where you're located. It's not like you can go after them, but it's not like we can, turn around and we would use even more resources to do it. And if they went out of business, is it likely we're going to get paid? Probably not.
Right. Yeah, nothing worse than getting stick. Nothing worse than that in this industry. So look up the companies. Be smart about who you work with. Make sure there's reviews on them. Make sure you talk to people in the industry. Make sure that everything is kosher before. Sometimes when a deal is too good to be true, then it is. So watch out for those really high converting fly-by-night guys, because nothing. It looks good on paper. Looks good on paper.
Yeah.
All right, Brent, you want to answer a couple more of these questions, or we can go about 10 more minutes or so.
Yeah, let's see here. Hang on a second. Can't expand this. All right, here we go.
Yeah, that's the problem I'm having. That's why I told you to go ahead.
Yeah, I can't expand it. All right, so how do you implement the underpop? So the users might offer when clicking the button on my landing page. So basically what he's asking is, how do I implement the pop under when someone clicks on my landing page, the script? And I have the scripts on my blog. I mean, what we can do is, I believe, Ryan, we can email everyone, right? So
right.
What we can do is we can make a follow-up email that gives the chart that we were showing you, and I can include the different scripts and stuff like that, and we'll just email that out to all of you. So you should have all the same scripts I use to build that funnel.
Cool, yeah. And with tonight's bonus, this is going to come too with the Mastermind Forum. If there's something that we could be more clear on that we covered tonight that we weren't, you can open a thread. There's no pressure in there. Go ahead and say, I didn't get something you guys mentioned. Can we discuss it in more detail? Or maybe there was a script or something. I know I've got a bad memory, short-term memory. Long-term's good, but short-term, and it's I've got so much going on. So that's what you have, those resources to remind us.
So we got a question about the mastermind. I guess we should have put that the mastermind form we're talking about is RevMax. It's not like I'm starting my own mastermind. So me and Ryan both answer questions inside of RevMax. So the mastermind we're referring to is the RevMax mastermind.
Right. Yeah. It's the same mastermind forum. It's like we having multiple. We keep everything in one spot there. Also, the free month Moby tracks. All of this will be emailed to you. Once you get in, then all these specials will be sent to you, so you can learn how to take advantage of them if you choose to do so.
Yeah. And just so you guys know, once we close down this webinar, I'm only going to leave that link up for about 30 minutes. That's why it wasn't even up in the first place, because I turn it off right after. So if you guys don't realize, the price of the actual course will go back up to $2,000, and so it's very unlikely that I'm going to. Actually, it's never likely that I'm ever going to lower it and add any of these bonuses than what you see here today. And the reason I'm talking about that is we got one question: is the course worth it? And I kind of mentioned this already, that it's really up to you, to be honest. I'm not going to try and hard sell you. You know where you're at. If you're having success right now, then probably not. If you're not, and you feel like you're continuously failing, then you got to think: is taking a course with someone that has been providing me value, is it going to actually help me? And like I said, I've created the course in such a way that I've given it to a few buddies and they loved it. They've taken several other courses and it's helped them grow as not only a mobile marketer, but a marketer, period. So you're going to be able to use the information in this course to not only run mobile offers, but to run pretty much everything that we're going to be talking about in later webinars, later paid webinars, and other material that we're going to be sharing. Because if you don't have marketing knowledge, then you're not going to really have success, because we are in an industry that you have to be good at marketing. So
yeah, I think Brent's being still too modest. I mean, the course is badass. I see a lot of stuff in this industry, and have been around for a long time. And those that have worked with me and know me and have listened to my previous webinars know, we have a lot of content always, and we provide a lot of information. And going through Brent's course myself, it was just amazing to see how much content he had, but how organized and simple it was to navigate through. So Brent takes you from the very beginning and then goes on down into every single thing in one place. He walks through the tools and hosting setup. He walks through everything step by step that you need, and that's what I liked about it. It was just easy for me to follow, and he did it through videos. So there's tons of videos and stuff to go through, and I'm more of a visual learner myself. So I mean, I really enjoyed the course overall. I think I think Minnie's going to benefit from it, and I think tonight's a very special deal that you're not going to see. I mean, obviously we're not going to keep this up too long, especially with the the mastermind. We're not wanting to get to become a huge group. We want to keep it manageable, where we can work with people more on a intimately basis, instead of having so many different people come in at once, and I feel like that you get lost in the crowd like that.
And of course, now questions are rolling in. Got a question: how long does a boot camp last? I guess we should have cleared that up as well. It's actually a course, and so I will be updating it, and I will probably be adding. Well, I will be adding a lot of updates to it, but I'll probably be adding maybe future paid webinars and stuff if I feel that they tie into the course well. And so you're able to go back through it as many times as you want. Currently, there's about 6 hours of content in it, and I have already about 4 hours more of content that I'm going to be adding, because I've already gotten questions from a few people to add certain things, and so I'm always going to be updating it, and so you're getting in at a great price, because as I add more, it's going to cost more because I'm using more of my time. So it's just going to be my core product that increases and goes up in value, but it's also going to go up in price as well.
All right, and someone's asking about, is it free for the members of the RevMax Mastermind? No, this is a completely different thing than the mastermind. The mastermind 3 months is included with this, but it's separate than the mastermind. Yes, we're in the mastermind answering, but that's a whole separate thing than from Brent's course here, and where Brent hosts his courses and stuff. It is different. You get access into the mastermind. So if you're already in the mastermind, then you get access to 3 additional months at no additional charge in what you've paid. So you're going to save there.
And one other question is if I'm already in RevMax, will I be able to just add on 3 months? And that's a question for you, Ryan.
Right, yeah, that's right. You can, yes. If you buy tonight, and if you're part of this group, that's why I said we're going to be taking this down in not very long, because that's the deal with it. Yes, you come in, check us out, then you get 3 months credited on. Now, I'm not going to go through refunding and stuff, because that's a real big pain in the butt. So we're not going to do that, but it's going forward. And I have to work on those. I have to do those individually, so you're just going to have to hit me up, or I'll hit you up afterwards once you buy. You'll deal with me and Brent, and I'll make sure I get you. But
he's asked, and I got another question about how much does the course focus on cleaner offers where we don't have to rely on cloaking, burning traffic sources to effectively compete, apps versus pins and shadier sweeps. And the answer is I talk about the shadier stuff so people are aware, but honestly the course is set up in such a way that it teaches you the fundamentals of marketing and actually how to think outside of the box, because I run heavy, and ironically the majority of my traffic at the moment is stuff that I wasn't running just 6 months ago. I was still running a few content offers and stuff like that, but honestly I just got pissed off that they just like another person had asked, they go down too quickly. Like a week, 2 weeks, and then they're down. And so the industry is getting worse and worse, and so I started moving into newer type offers that no one is talking about. So that's, the information in that course is going to help you get to these other offers and understand and the mindset that you need to be that you need to actually have success at cleaner offers, because it's a totally different industry if you're running actual marketing campaigns rather than fear type campaigns that you see with a lot of content billing offers.
I got a question here really quick about, do I have to be a RevMax affiliate to be in the mastermind? And the answer is no. We use the mastermind to supplement RevMax network. So RevMax has a private affiliate network that we work with media buyers and publishers. If you need additional training, and those that are in the network already know that I send very detailed newsletters out, but if you need additional training, that's why I've set up the mastermind. But if you're just a mobile affiliate and you're wanting some extra campaign help, we do make it available to you, because we realize you'll probably, somewhere along the line, you'll probably eventually sign up for RevMax and start running some offers, and then you're going to also have that knowledge with us. So no, you don't have to be a member, but you are automatically accepted into RevMax if you're in the mastermind, because that shows us that, hey, you're wanting to work with us and to and to collaborate a little closer. So in return, we're able to push through your application rather quickly. So
already can't keep up. The thing keeps scrolling. Okay, so is the course for beginners? Is it suitable for advanced CPA mobile marketers? And the answer is yes to both. It's made to start from beginners, and so a more advanced person, the first parts of like stuff like setting up your tracker and stuff like that, it's not going to really be helpful if you're already at that point. But as you progress through the course, it does start to get to more advanced concepts. And for example, unless you're doing stuff like complex funnels, building your own apps and stuff like that, then you will learn exactly how to do this stuff and how to realize, where are there holes in my campaigns and how can I make them, much more successful. And that's what advanced marketing is. There's not, besides that, there's no magic bullet. It seems like a lot of people, and I've been there as well, that they're looking for that magic bullet. They always think that they're missing something. And unfortunately, the thing that most people are missing is the understanding of, having the proper mindset, doing the proper research, and being able to understand your market in such a way that you can actually market to your audience to actually get them to convert. So the answer is yes, it's for beginners, and yes, it's for advanced as well.
And there's another one here. I know I was going to get this. I should have said it. Everything on the screen right now is available to anyone who buys this special. So if you're in the mastermind, then you're going to get 3 additional months. If you're using iMobiTrax, then you're going to get a free next month. I mean, we're not going to shortchange you because you're already working with us. So we will add that on. Just hit me up, or I'll hit you up, or we'll figure that out. Just let me know. I guess that's the thing. Once you buy, send me an email, Ryan@RevMax.com, and I'll make sure it gets straightened out for you. Because I will have to do those manually that are already in, and don't expect it in like the next hour, but I will get that straightened out for you. Absolutely. We're not going to, we put together these specials for those that wanted to join us tonight live, and we do appreciate you coming out. So yes.
And getting okay.
Yeah,
so
quite a few. There's a lot of questions.
Every time I'm trying to read it, it then scrolls.
It's refreshing. Yeah.
Can you make decent money with pay-per-call in comparison to app installs? Well, let's put it this way. I got a buddy that I trained on how to do this, was a year and a half ago now, and he kind of spun it and changed it around. But from what I hear, he's modest most of the time, but he's doing a substantial amount of revenue because he only usually talks to me when times are tough and he asks me what's going on, and he hasn't talked to me for quite a while. And me personally, just as an example, with pay-per-call, the type of stuff, I'll drop one little hint for you here. It's not the type of stuff that you can actually get on affiliate networks. You have to think of it in such a way that you're actually building your own offers, and so it's very long-term and it's very sustainable stuff, and it's going to take a bit more work, but it won't go down like most offers. And so, for example, one of my clients has been paying me $2,000 a month for me to generate them leads, and honestly, hope they're on this call right now because I don't have to do much work to get it. So, it's once you build it, it's sustainable.
Yeah, I think there's so many lead gen's around forever. I mean, it's never until the day of the end of society. Lead gen's going to be around. There's attorney leads. There's health insurance leads, which is going to be about to become another big subject in the United States. There's all kinds of different companies. I mean, there's yard services we've seen and done. There's any type of service out there that needs clients. Dentists, doctors, tattoo removal is a huge one, and so, realizing that and pay-per-call and the value of a lead, you can make extremely big money on pay-per-call in comparison to app installs. But it's not like Brent said, it's not the pay-per-call you're thinking. It's not going to your affiliate network of choice, clicking on their Ring Revenue platform and then pulling some offers like that. I mean, yeah, you may be able to do some stuff with that, maybe some live transfers here and there, but it's not what the pay-per-call that he's talking about specifically.
Yeah, I mean, you guys should be recognizing a trend here. I mean, we're saying that, yes, you can still make money with the offers that you guys are used to, but the industry is, in fact, changing. And so going on, more sustainable offers is definitely the way to go. It's going to be a bit more work to get there, but it is obviously worth it because all of your competition is going to basically disappear because with the stuff that we're talking about, there isn't competition yet. So it's a prime to the picking. So more. Damn, every time I try and okay, here we go. Yeah. So how many hours does the course run, and how many modules are in it? In the course, do you only talk about trackers like iMobiTrax or other trackers like Volume or Thrive? Personally, I haven't used Thrive. I have used Volume, so I do talk about iMobiTrax. If I do get a bunch of requests, with this bonus, you're going to be getting access to iMobiTrax, and so it will make sense with you with that. But if I get enough requests where people are wanting to learn how to use Volume and Thrive, then that's something I will add, but that's not in there at the moment.
Okay.
And as far as how many hours, the course, like I said, is 6 hours at the moment. But I have a bunch of videos that I'm still adding as far as editing. So a lot of them have already been on the course, but I took them back down just to make some quick changes from people that were in the beta, and then I'm going to be uploading them back up there again. So the course will probably be right around 9 to 10 hours. And I know some of you, so we already are getting sales, which is good, but one thing for you guys that are buying right now, don't just go rushing through the content, take notes and actually learn from it. So too many people want to get something, they want to consume it all in a day, and then, they want to go try it. I'm not saying you can't do that, but I'm saying you want to take your time, you really want to learn and and go through and try this stuff on your own. You don't want to just sit there and watch video after video. You want the actual techniques and the strategies and different things that I'm talking about to actually sink in and let the dots connect, so to speak.
Well, that's why I like the video format and the format this is in, because you can start your module and get through it and then go do whatever it is and then come back, and then you start building up. Take notes while you're doing it, because then you'll probably have some other questions or some things. Maybe you have to go back and rewatch something. So that's why, me personally, I take courses all the time, because I'm trying to better my skills always, because the more skills I have, the more competitive advantage I have. I know last year I spent a lot of time learning video advertising. And so I was taking courses on how to video advertise on Facebook, how to video advertise on YouTube. And I liked the fact that I could start them, and then as I progressed, I would go set up campaigns knowing what they said, and then the more I did it, then I got the hang of it. But I would keep going back and forth to those videos to make sure I wasn't missing a step, and making sure that I was not overlooking something that was more important. It was important.
So just another question. I got a question: Is the course Internet Marketing Fundamentals part of the bootcamp course, or is it new videos? And it's kind of an interesting answer, because some of the information is the same. It's a lot more than the Internet Marketing Fundamentals course. I'm going to probably get rid of the Internet Marketing Fundamentals course for new people purchasing it, because the boot camp goes into much more depth on all those concepts and even goes much further. So if you've already purchased that course, go ahead and email me at brent@skillhd.com, and I will, if you're interested in purchasing it, what I'll do for you is I'll just allow you to purchase it at the difference. So if you've already purchased Internet Fundamentals, just add on the difference of the bootcamp, and you can get access to it.
All right, sweet. Well, I think that's going to do it. We're about 40 minutes in. I said about an hour and a half, an hour and 45 if we had to. So we didn't want to keep all your time tonight, but we hope you enjoyed tonight's webinar. And I know Brent and I, we get together as much as we can, but we're going to start doing a lot more of this, and that's our new paid webinar section that we're going to have. So stay tuned for emails on that if you're interested in that feature that's coming out. There's going to be a lot more of this to where we can take even more questions. And guys, thank you all for your questions and coming out. They're still just pouring in, and we really do appreciate your feedback as well. That really helps us tailor these to exactly what you're looking for, and it helps you build your business, because we want them to be effective for you. So with all that said, once again, thank you, Brent. Thanks for doing this together with me tonight, and thanks for letting us be this first place you feature your course.
Yeah, awesome. It was great to be here, and thanks everyone for joining. I know the questions are they're still pouring in, so what I'll do is, if for the ones that I think I can answer through email that are not just about the course period, I'll go ahead and do that. For the people who are asking how much longer they have to be able to purchase it, I'll just go ahead and shut it down at the hour. So I'll leave it up for 18 more minutes, and then once it's 8 here where I'm living, I'm going to turn it off. So if you want to get in on it, go ahead and do it in the next 18 minutes, or you're going to lose out on it. Other than that, once again, thanks everyone for joining us. It was great to kind of show you some stuff that most people aren't talking about. It was great to see your questions, and I hope to do more in the future.
Absolutely. Thanks so much, everyone. Have a good evening.